Hey everyone, so it's Hearth and welcome back to my channel. So on today's video, we're going to be doing a little book review. Quite literally. I wanted to review the Tea Leaf Reading book by Running Press. Now, as you can see, this is quite literally a tiny book. It is probably one of the smallest books I've ever seen and is definitely the smallest book I have ever read. It is tiny. It fits into the palm of my hand quite comfortably, and I have quite small hands. So this is part of the Running Press series where they have lots of mini books about different forms of divination. Now, this is the only Running Press divination book that I have ever bought, and honestly, it's really good. I don't want to spoil the entire video, but it's actually pretty decent. Now, I first heard about this book when I was looking into a Tasseomancy box, or a mystery box that I was going to do for Tasseomancy or tea leaf reading. Now, this was a good couple of years ago now, and when I first read this book, I thought it was fantastic and included this book in that mystery box. So if anyone got that mystery box, it's a good couple of years ago now, you will have this book in your possession, unless you chose to get rid of it, of course, which is completely up to you. But when I got those books in for the mystery box, I decided to get an extra one for myself, and it's been sitting on my bookcase ever since. Now, Tasseomancy isn't something that I typically do on a daily basis, even a weekly basis. I maybe do it every couple of years. It's really just not something that I ever truly got into, but it's something I really enjoyed learning about. So this little book was the first book I ever read on Tasseomancy, and although I have read resources and books since, it's still pretty high up in my list of books for Tasseomancy, which is honestly pretty surprising. Now, this book is a reasonably cheap book. I think you can get them for £4 to £6 depending on where you go, and they're really well made. Although it's small, it's actually a hardback book. It has a beautiful outer sleeve, which is honestly just stunning. It has the teacup on the front, and on the back it has a teapot which is hidden behind the sticker that I never ever got rid of. But it is just a beautiful book, and they've actually gone to the measure of not only decorating the outside, but also underneath the cover. The book itself is stunning. It is this beautiful, like, royal purple colour, and then along the edge it actually says tea leaf reading in this beautiful coppery rose gold gilding. It's a really beautiful book for something this price. It is far nicer than most of the books that I have in my collection, honestly. It's probably one of the prettiest. So it has a tick in the box for being aesthetically pleasing, because these illustrations, they aren't just on the outside, they're actually found pretty much all the way through the book. It is so common in this book to find these little pages of illustrations, which make it just so beautiful. For whatever reason, it's a satisfying book to flick through. There's little pages of colour and little hand-drawn, hand-sketched illustrations as you flick through the book. It's just really beautiful. Now, as to be expected with a tiny book like this, it doesn't contain a huge amount of information. This book is more designed to be a pocket guide or a really brief look into the world of Tasseomancy. Now, it is actually split into two parts. The first section, up to page 59, is actually a guide for the history of Tasseomancy, how it is done, the different utensils and items that are used, and the different techniques, which is really ideal for a little quick refresher or a really quick look into the art of Tasseomancy. From page 60 to page 139 is a guide to the different symbols, what they mean, from crescent moons to feet to forks to flying birds to eyes. It has a full alphabetical list of different symbols that you might find when you're doing Tasseomancy. Now, I will give you a little bit of a reading of this book. I'm just going to read the blurb and then the first little introduction section, just to give you an idea of the writing style that this book is in. So the blurb reads as follows. Tea leaf reading. Read your future with this miniature guide to the ancient art of tea leaf reading. Every aspect is made easy, with instructions for picking out the correct utensils, dividing your cup, and even an in-depth glossary of symbols. This miniature edition is perfect for finding all the secrets at the bottom of your teacup. Now, I actually really enjoy the writing style in this book. It is so light-hearted, so easy to read. I have a good few books that I'm going to be talking about in later videos where I do full in-depth reviews on them, where the writing style is so dense. It's almost designed to confuse the reader, to make them feel stupid. Whereas this book is so easy, it's light, it's refreshing. It doesn't talk down to you, it talks to you. And I do actually really enjoy that. So this is how the first little section goes. Good news, learning how to read tea leaves in a cup, like sentences in a book, has never been easier or more thirst-quenching. The bad news is that you'll never be able to look at a cup of tea in the same way ever again. This book isn't simply a collection of first-time reveals and secret step-by-step instructions on how to tease and squeeze information about the future out of wet things in the bottom of teacups. It's also your personal invite to a most unique tea party, where perceptions are of the extrasensory sort, and all talk is about the future. Thirsty for more? Grab a teacup, close the refrigerator door, turn on the kettle, and open up your mind. For instant wisdom and intuitive insights, just add water. So I actually really like the wordplay that they use throughout this entire book. There's a lot of tea puns, which I really appreciate. And I just really enjoy the way it is written. It is very easy to understand. It goes into little sections. So you have like tea leaf reading book camp. You then have the things to think about in the history before you actually start reading. You then have a little section on the suitable utensils, and then a little bit about how to brew the tea, how to drink the tea, how to deal with it after you've drunk it, and then finally a little section on how to read the leaves, followed by the large glossary of different symbols. And at the very end, it talks a little bit of the few hints and tricks that are really useful if you're interested in tasseomancy. So I really like the way the book is laid out. I think it's very simple and it's very easy. Now, of course, could it be too simple? Yes, it is rather simple. And if you have already read a book on tasseomancy, this might be a little too simple. It is very simplistic, very basic, but if you're interested in almost a glossary, a little bit of a guide as to the shapes that you might find, then it is really useful, as because it's so small, you can fit it in a pocket or in a bag. And although most people aren't going out and about doing tea leaf readings, if you are going to someone else's house, if you do tea leaf readings for other people, or you want to learn with friends, then this could be a really good thing to have because it's so durable. They even mention that the book is created to be super durable. It even says in the back that this book has been bound using handcraft methods and smith sewn to ensure durability. So it's a really well-made book, and you can tell. And it's also so small that it's super duper portable. And also the pages are kind of shiny, so it feels as though you could spill a drop of tea on the pages and they wouldn't just be destroyed forever. Because let's face it, we all have one of those books where we've dripped something on it at some point and that page is just wrecked forever. And this book feels like it's a bit more durable than that, which is always good. Now, the other really good thing about this is that it does go into how to do general readings, how to do question-based readings, and also how to do yes/no readings, which is something that I found a lot of books miss out. They will often do general readings, question readings, and that's it. And a lot of people don't actually know you can do yes/no readings with tea leaf reading, and I like the fact that this book does go into it. So it's definitely really interesting in that aspect. Now, of course, I am going to say a couple of downsides with this book, but I have to say, there aren't really that many. The first is mainly that the book pushes rather expensive items as almost a requirement. They talk a lot about not using any chemically processed teas in any way, and that you need to find whole leaf organic green tea, which for a lot of people isn't really accessible. Either they don't have access to it or it's out of their budget. They then go on to say that you have to use specific styles of teapots made of heavy-duty ceramic that you put on the stove, and that you're not allowed really to use a kettle, and that you have to use silver or stainless steel spoons for tea leaf reading, which immediately isolates a lot of people that might be interested in it. From my own personal practice, yes, these things can be great. They can really help the experience and help the energy that goes into a tea leaf reading. But if you are planning on getting this book, please don't feel alienated if you don't have access to silver teaspoons. Who has access to silver teaspoons? Or if you don't have access to a really expensive ceramic stovetop kettle. If you just can't find those things, then you really don't need to, and you really can start from the basics. Now, it's definitely no hate to the author whatsoever, and I think the book is absolutely fantastic in general, but I do just want to say that if you are worried, if you're reading a book like this and it says something like that these additional tools are really great, but if you're just starting out and you don't even know if you're interested in it yet, don't feel alienated by it, because you really can do tea leaf reading with other things as well if you don't have access to silver spoons and expensive organic whole leaf tea. Now, the other couple of things are that it's rather minimal on information, which I have mentioned earlier, and if you are after a super in-depth history on tasseomancy, the different cultures where it is found, the different methods in which it's done, then this probably isn't for you, and a larger book might be better. But if you're after just a small guide, then this book really is brilliant. And then the last thing is that I do find a few of the explanations rather tricky to wrap my head around. But this might simply be because I am dyslexic. I do find wording really important. Words being in slightly wrong places or not in the order that I would expect them to be in can really, really throw me off. The main section for this that I have found is the chapter called Tea Time, and it's all about dividing the teacup. Now, because I have studied tasseomancy before, I do already know how to divide a teacup, but I have to say that the wording in this particular book is slightly confusing, but that could just be me. A person without dyslexia might be able to read this book and read it completely fine with no issues, and someone with dyslexia that is less severe or is different might also be able to read it completely fine. So I'm not going to say that that's anything bad on the book's part, that might just be me. But all in all, I really, really like this book. I like that I have it in my collection, and I like that if I ever was to do workshops, or if I was ever going to do tea leaf reading with someone else, then I have a little reference guide to fall back on. Now, I will say that typically it's best to come up with your own associations with the symbols that you see in tea leaves, because how you interpret them is entirely individual. But if you're new and you're struggling to understand what different things mean, then this kind of book can be really, really ideal, as it does give you a guide for almost everything you could ever imagine. Even a mouse, a mask. They have so many things in here that could come up in a tea leaf reading session that honestly, it's just a fantastic book to have on hand. Now, I will say that I do have a link to this book down in the description box that is an affiliate link. You don't have to follow that link if you don't want to, but if you did fancy supporting the channel and you did want to get this book, if you follow the affiliate link, I do get a small percentage of every sale made. Now, of course, you do not have to use this link at all, but it is there for anyone who wants to grow their book collection and help the channel. So it's a really great option for anyone that fancies doing that rather than going through Patreon or Ko-fi or anything else. So it's there if you want it. If not, I'm sure you can find this book on Amazon or any other book retailer really, really easily just by using the title. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you like the new concept of book reviews. I know I talked about it a while ago, but now I'm finally getting around to do it. Just please bear with me because I am a really slow reader and it takes me a really, really long time. But I hope that when these videos do come out that you do enjoy it. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to give it a like. That really, really means so much to me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, video ideas, or just want to chit chat with the community, down in the comment section, feel free to post a comment. And if you enjoy the magical content in this video or on this channel, feel free to hit subscribe. I do my best to post magical content every Wednesday and every Saturday at 6 p.m. So I do hope you guys have a marvelous magical day, and I will see you in the next one.